Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Friday night Smackdown review, and this was the go-home Smackdown before Fastlane this Sunday, live on the WWE Network and Peacock. And I gotta say, SmackDown just continues to know what it is and, what it does, and what it does very well. Even the tag division got a little bit of shine tonight. They were kind of flexing because they really seem to strongly hint at a multi-team match, either at Fastlane, and if not, they're definitely at WrestleMania. The women's tag titles got some interesting build tonight, although I don't remember seeing any Reginald, which was interesting. The main event scene, obviously, still very entertaining. Bryan cut a great promo, and Roman, as usual, was a terrific foil. And main event Jey Uso delivered again, man. I had fun with that main event match. And I would say again, the low-key stars of SmackDown tonight, fucking mid-card, personified in Apollo Cruz and Big E, the Intercontinental Champion. So I think overall a very solid episode of SmackDown yet again from where I sit. How'd you feel about it, man?
Yeah, it was a really, really good episode. Really strong go-home show. I feel like it's one of those things where there was a point in time when SmackDown was basically a Raw after show, and like the whole show would be dedicated to recapping Raw and hyping up next week's Raw, and maybe you'd get a couple matches mixed in there. But now that SmackDown really is its own show, and not only is it its own show, but it almost feels like the flagship show right now, these go-home shows are getting really strong, and this was no exception to that rule. This is a really strong go-home show. It got everyone that I have spoken to about this show has told me that it got them more hype for Fastlane. So that's a very successful go-home show.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And for what feels like the first time in a minute, I'm just going to bypass it altogether, honestly. I had a really fun time with the show. Even things that I may not be as, wowed about, so to speak, more comes down to personal preferences than anything in the booking, the writing, etc., etc., etc. So I'm just going to forego it tonight. How about you, man? Do you have anything you want to air out?
Man, I gotta tell you, I wish that I didn't have anything to complain about, because I wish that the thing that I'm gonna complain about just straight up didn't happen. But unfortunately it did. Tamina and Natalya are still a thing, and not only are they a thing, but they are doing everything that they can to try and line themselves up for a women's tag team title shot, and it's fucking ridiculous. They're awful.
I don't want to get too much into the women's tag title scene, given that we are having our predictions tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time for Fastlane. And I know a lot of the time, our predictions, and I think I do this far more than you, so I will cop to that. We usually go beyond the bounds of the pay-per-view and kind of maybe speculate about Mania, this and that. So I'm going to stay mum about that, but I can understand why you'd be annoyed. I mean, Natalya's just awful. I don't even really mind Tamina. If anything, I'm actually glad Tamina's in a tag team, because I don't think she's awful, but she shouldn't be pushed as a single star. So I think a tag team is a good
See, that's my thing too. I really Natalya is what ruins it. I'm not a big fan of. Here, let me put it this way. I like Tamina, but I'm not a big fan of her being pushed, really, ever. I feel like Tamina, at this point in her career, she's in her 40s. She should be the very legitimate monster that puts over up-and-coming talent. She should be losing to Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, not fucking beating them with Natalya. And that's why I don't like her kind of half, and Natalya's half is just all bad. If there was a percentage of like and dislike, Tamina, it's 65% like, 35% dislike. Natalya, it is 0% like, 100% dislike. I fucking hate Natalya in every way possible. She's garbage. She's a shitty person. She's a shitty wrestler. She's got a fucking inferiority complex. She's just trash. And she still gets pushed every fucking year. Every year when I'm completely at the point that I've forgotten about Natalya's existence, the WWE just feels the need to be hey, wait a minute, here she is.
Absolutely. So given that our disdain for Natalya is a well-established fact on the podcast, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we get into the review?
Nope, let's go.
All right, let us get into our Friday night SmackDown review. And we open, actually, with Sasha Banks and Bianca Belaire arguing in the gorilla position before Sasha's match. So we're going to open with the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yeah.
And it more or less comes down to the same thing. They're bickering. They're not getting along. Sasha Banks blames Reginald for this. And Bianca says, oh, Reginald. Reginald's still a part of this? Again, because the whole thing is Bianca's been telling Sasha, take care of him. And, Bianca is trying to hint at Sasha, like, I think you're making a mistake here. This is really close to our women's tag title opportunity. It's this Sunday. You're putting your women's championship on the line. And really, if I'm Bianca, I'm a bit miffed because her and Sasha both seem psyched about making history, as two black women, fighting for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And not only that, not to discredit Nia on that front, but Sasha's just a far better worker than Nia from where I sit. So if I'm Bianca,
I don't know why you said not to discredit Nia on that front. Discredit her all you want. She's trash.
Well, no, I mean, like, in terms of, like, identity, because I think she's also a black woman, isn't she? Or is she, like, where it's, like, half black, half Samoan?
I think she's half and half. I think she's, like, The Rock, half black, half Samoan. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but either way, I don't want to, like, discredit her in terms of identity. Like, I don't want to take it there, but I will say from an in-ring standpoint, like, that's another thing, because if I'm Bianca, I'm like, you're messing with the dream match here. And Sasha's like, oh, I'm the boss, standard blueprint, her whole spiel. And, Bianca's like, don't expect my help out there tonight. And Sasha's just like, I didn't ask for it. And, she leaves. And then we get Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. I will say, I only held my breath on one spot this whole time. I don't know if you were kind of keeping a counter of yourself. And that's when Nia had Sasha in stretch muffler position. And she just slammed her face hard into the middle turnbuckle. Like, I looked at that and I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But what did you think about the match, man? I know this was, like, making you uncomfortable just thinking about this match happening, so...
Yeah, yeah, it was all right. It wasn't terrible by any means, but I don't know if it's possible for Sasha Banks to have a terrible match. Absolutely loved the Meteora to the back of Nia's head. That was awesome. I loved that. Unfortunately, it didn't actually get the win. But also, kind of like that they're really turning Shayna's, like, running PK into, like, almost like a finisher-worthy move. Because, like, they're... kind of, jumping onto the she knocked Asuka loopy and knocked her teeth out wagon and being like, oh, this kick is really fucking legit. And that actually is the move that ended up beating Nia tonight.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. Speaking of Asuka, quick aside, I actually went back and I watched her beat the crap out of Shayna Basler and try and, like, take her teeth out. Where was that Asuka when Kyrie was fucked with? That's the Asuka I've been wanting.
I guess she's just not as passionate of a friend as she is, prideful for herself.
I mean, I guess that's human nature, so I can't be too mad. But I wonder if Paul saw that segment and if he kind of vibed with it the way that I did, because I'm like, that's the Asuka I've been wanting. But that aside, you did mention the kick, so I'll just go right to the finish. Sasha just kind of stacks herself up on Nia, gets the 3 count. Her and Bianca are kind of celebrating. You can still feel that tension a little bit, though.
It's interesting because Bianca said she wouldn't be out to help Sasha, and then she did anyway. Like, she came out and she helped, like, kind of try and neutralize Shayna.
Yeah, I think just Bianca saw as like her own interests. I want my partner to be 100%, and she's not going to be 100% psychically without the women's championship. So, like, if she loses that, right, she's off her mental game, and that hurts Bianca. So I can kind of rationalize it for her character. I can understand that. Sasha retains, and we go from that to Edge being interviewed, and he talks about how he's always kind of associated SmackDown as home, because Kayla asks, how does it feel being on SmackDown for the first time in 10 years? I think Edge said 11 years last week, but it's around that area.
Yeah.
And, Edge is like, SmackDown's always been home to me. I beat The Undertaker for the World Heavyweight title on SmackDown, but I also forfeited the World Heavyweight title on SmackDown because of my injury. I had to give it up. And so being here because of hard work, elbow grease, and this and that, and competing on SmackDown tonight, it's unreal. And, he mentions how he feels he should be the enforcer, because he feels if he is, Daniel Bryan will be able to get a fair shot at Fastlane. And as things are looking right now, he doesn't think Bryan's going to get a fair shot. He also gives major praise to Jey Uso. I'm telling you, Jey Uso, for all of WWE's weird projects, Jey Uso has been far and away the best one.
Yeah.
Edge goes
second best behind Kofi Mania.
That is true. But I mean, you know what, though? This is even more impressive because I feel like they've been tinkering with this longer now at this point than Kofi Mania. I mean, Kofi Mania was insane, and we know objectively it was the loudest the arena got all night at Mania. Not trying to discount Kofi. I'm just amazed they've been juggling these balls, I think, for far longer at this point, and I still don't think they've dropped the ball. Yep. So Edge goes out of his way to say, I truly believe that Jey Uso could be one of the greatest in this industry, ever, but he's not going to do that if he keeps following, like, Roman Reigns' shadow. So, and then he says, he's going to beat Jey Uso tonight, that whole thing. So, Seth Rollins comes out. We go to commercial, though, and before we cut back to Seth, we have Shayna and Nia backstage. Nia's mad at Shayna. Shayna's like, I'm sorry. And, Nia's like, I don't want excuses. I want to know what you're going to do about this. Shayna's like, I'm going to go ask for a match with Bianca. I'm going to kick her head off, and I'm going to give her the nastiest beating of her life before Fastlane this Sunday. We then cut back to Seth Rollins. What did you think about this promo here from a man that seemed better dressed this week?
Yeah, better dressed for sure. I liked this promo, but like, it kind of feels like one of those like weird internet beefs where it's like two people that are angry at each other, and then one of them randomly decides to start throwing the other person's favorite wrestler under the bus, and it's like, oh, well, too bad your favorite never won anything. That feels like what Seth was doing here with Cesaro. It's like you're blaming the person for fucking ridiculous, like, kayfabe out of their power shit that they have no control over. And that has always annoyed me. But he's a heel, so I guess it makes sense that he would. I just wish he wouldn't be like, oh, you've never achieved anything, you're the biggest waste of potential, implying that it's Cesaro's fault. But that feels, again, though, that comes back to, like, Seth's just a fucking bootlicker, though.
Exactly. Like, if you were really good at your job, you wouldn't need to join a union. Jesus Christ, Seth. But yeah.
It's so sad that that's so accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But that's totally Seth's energy, like, oh, you just need to work harder. Like he's bootstraps without the MAGA stripes running down his back, or whatever, in my mind, at least that we know of. Maybe he's just more covert about it. We don't know.
That's true. That is a distinct possibility, my friend.
I mean, with how politics work today, you never know, brother. But yeah, that's pretty much Seth Rollins' sentiments. And, like, you swung me 22 times. I counted. And, he pretty much said, like, that's the stomps. Like, you just showed that you don't have the heart or the courage, to get up again. But I'm not like you. I'm a fighter. I always get back up. And, Seth, again, is extolling his own, praises and just kind of putting himself over. He gives Cesaro scraps. You're the biggest waste of potential in WWE history. And then at that point, Shinsuke comes out. And I love how apoplectic Seth got here. Like, don't you come in here. Don't you cross that line that I arbitrarily made. Don't you do it. Oh, you did it. Now I'm really ruffled. But don't you get in this ring. Don't you do it.
He was so ruffled.
Don't you do it. You're smarter than Cesaro. You didn't disrespect me. I know you're better than he is. Don't you? Oh, you did it. But don't interrupt me while I'm talking, because then I'll get... And then Shinsuke just takes the mic. Shut up. Yeah. And then Seth is just like, oh, well, you want to tussle? Because now I'm really mad. And he goes to try and hit Shinsuke. Shinsuke ducks and he weaves and he just embarrasses Seth. Great energy from Shinsuke, and we know, just to kind of put a neat bow on this, these guys are having a match at Fastlane, and low-key, like, if they give that match time, that's going to be a fucking banger. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yep.
It's nice to see Shinsuke face people that are actually worth his goddamn time.
Yeah.
So,
truly.
Yeah, I lived for this. This was a really great segment, and again, it's just nice to know that Seth can dress himself, even if maybe we can credit Becky for the assist. We don't know. Hello, Mark. Mark said, I'm here, apparently. Man, questioning your reality is rough. Yeah, so that was that segment. And then we get the tag team division getting fleshed out a little bit. We have the Dirty Dogs, although it's more like Wild Hogs because they're fucking old. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode on commentary. And we've got the Street Profits versus the Mysterios. And, it was a pretty decent match, but ultimately the Mysterios win. Fucking Dominic pinned Dawkins. And Dawkins was shocked. Wild Hogs were laughing at him. And, yeah, like, that was that for the Mysterios. And then Alpha Academy comes out, and they're like, what? You think that one win puts you in line for a tag title opportunity? And then they get distracted by the Street Profits, and Chad Gable's like, oh, Profits, don't you come in this ring after he's done singing the praises of his prized pupil, Otis. And the Mysterios kind of send them out of the ring. Dominic does a springboard crossbody on both Chad and Otis. And then we come back from commercial, and we're doing the Mysterios in another matchup versus Alpha Academy. And thankfully, Alpha Academy won this match, and Otis has been looking dominant. I'm still loving Alpha Academy Otis. How about you, man?
Yeah, they've been really good. I've really enjoyed them too. I actually really enjoyed their double team move tonight, where Chad did the fucking Chaos Theory. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it was the Chaos Theory, and then Otis did the splash, right?
Yeah, I love too how much further out I think it was Dominic was for Otis's splash than you were used to. Like, he was in the middle of the ring, and they actually pointed that out on commentary. So they're making Otis's splash look even more impressive and be that much more devastating. I thought that was really cool. I love these guys. I would love for them to go after the tag championships. Unfortunately, though, right now, the tag champions are heels. And unfortunately, even more unfortunately, they were also on commentary, and I fucking hated listening to them.
I will say, though, this is... Okay, so there are a couple points I want to make. About Otis, I didn't think I'd like a Chad Gable tag partner more than I did Jason Jordan, because I loved American Alpha and their time in NXT and briefly on the main roster. But Otis is climbing the ranks, man. He really works with Chad a lot better than I thought they would. So, all credit to Otis there, and Chad's just a beast. Don't really like, the Mysterios getting this kind of push, but I've been saying forever, I know this has been one of my primary talking points when we talk about the tag team division in WWE. One of these days, Dominic and Ray are going to win the tag titles. It's going to be the first ever father-son tag team champions. WWE is going to want to do it. Here's where I have to give them credit, though. I love how they did this, because in 2 matches, the big 6-man, I believe it was, or I think it could have even been an 8-man last week, where Ford pinned Rude with the frog splash, and then these 2 matches tonight, so in 3 matches we'll say, they've really made everybody seem like a contender, because Ford pinned Rude, so you could say Street Profits beat Wild Hogs, then you had the Mysterios beat the Street Profits, but Alpha Academy beat the Mysterios. And then, of course, Wild Hogs beat Street Profits in the first place to win the titles. So everybody owns a victory over somebody else. And I like that, because if we are going to do a multi-team matchup, you've got the scenario right there wwhere each team has a bit of credibility because, oh, wait, I beat you, but wait, you shut up because I beat you, and so on and so forth. Good stuff,
Normally we call that a rock, paper, scissors triangle, but this is more of a rock, paper, scissors square. Yeah, I know they're probably going to have all the teams in at once. I don't know why. Every couple of years I get a craving for a tag team turmoil, but I know they're not going to do that. I just hope, though, if they do a big schmoz, it's elimination style, because I would like it to come down to 2 teams, and then definitively the champions are the best team because we outlasted everybody else. Oh, I know what to call it. Rock, paper, scissors, dynamite with a cuttable fuse. There you go. That's a lot going on. Dynamite blows up the rock. The scissors cuts the fuse, although then the scissors would cut the paper too. Never mind. Oh, man. I guess we should Scissors is just too OP in that game. I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah. So, we get the tag team division flexing, but then we go from that to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens backstage. Sami is unwinding. At first I thought it was a random thing on Talking Smack. No, it's canon. He's unwinding. In fact, I can finally say this and have it be canonically relevant. He's cracking like an egg, baby. Like an egg. Because he's talking I love how you say it twice every time. Yes. And so, he's talking to his documentary crew, and he's like, do you see what's happening? I have a match with Baron Corbin tonight that I didn't even ask for, that I didn't even want. And then Kevin Owens comes into view. Now, remember what I told you, and I'm going to recap for everybody just in case you guys don't watch. I told Ashton on Facebook because I watch Talking Smack, and I'll be watching it Sunday morning before Fastlane because I'm really treating it as can't miss stuff. Isn't it tomorrow morning? Is it Saturday morning? Yeah. Well, yeah, but remember, dude, I'm with my family. I'm not going to have time to watch it. Oh, right. I'm sorry, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I told Ashton this on Facebook where they're doing on Talking Smack because Sami was just unhinged. And he's like, because he heard Paul Heyman say on a past Talking Smack that there is a conspiracy. Paul Heyman doesn't like him. He's a prick. And when he was in charge of Raw, he made sure to keep Sami down.
And Sami said, I'm not going to punch you in the face, Paul, because you've set me free. You've given me a gift. You've proven me right, with this whole thing. The latest Talking Smack before the one that's going to hit this tomorrow morning, Sami again. Well, actually, no, it was the same one. I'm getting it all out of sorts. I apologize. But yeah, Paul Heyman then says after Sami leaves and has his episode, it really wasn't me. I asked to push Sami Zayn. I even had an idea for him to go with the tag team titles with Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens said, no, I've known Sami all my life. He's terrible. And, and Paul Heyman said that Kevin Owens was actively trying to bury Sami Zayn. And so they planted the seed there. And I told Ashton, yeah, KO and Sami, 1,000% happening at Mania. I think we already knew, given the little tease last week of Sami asking Kevin to be a part of the documentary. And then that Talking Smack happened. And then we get to this week on SmackDown. Kevin comes into view again. Sami's like, hey, have you given it some thought? And Kevin's like, I have. And have you given it some thought? Well, given what some thought? Well, that you're just, you're twisting and you're manipulating reality to fit your narrative. And Sami's just looking at his camera crew like, this fucking guy, can you believe this? You hearing this? Twisting reality? I don't do that. Don't you see the conspiracy against me? Don't you see what's happening? Listen. I've known you my whole life. And I've never known you to say something that's your fault. Now, look, I love babyface Kevin Owens. The one bad thing it seems about every babyface that used to be really into being a heel is like just a complete lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Because again, I love Kevin, and I'm not doing any nitpicks or anything like that. Just an observation that it is kind of funny he's saying this to Sami when Sami was once a beloved fucking underdog, and Kevin was like, oh, well, I do a better shooting star press than Neville. I did it first, actually. And he was just always so insecure and always, jealous of Sami. And now the narrative is, I've never seen you take responsibility. Huh. That's really something. So Sami invites Kevin out to his match tonight. The match that nobody asked for. And unfortunately, there must be a winner. And Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin. Kevin says, sure, I'll be out there. And Sami says, look, it'll be great because you'll be out there and it'll be an extra set of eyes for all the injustice. So you can make sure that everything goes down exactly as it's supposed to. So we get that segment. Then we get Daniel Bryan's promo. Now, usually when it comes to the really meaty good shit, I like you to go first. So I'm going to take a breather. What did you think of Bryan's promo here, man?
Bryan's promo. God, I feel like I might have missed this. I really don't remember Bryan cutting a promo tonight.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, dude, you missed a good one then, and you're going to need to go back.
I remember Bryan being on commentary for the main event, but I don't remember him cutting a promo.
Yeah, dude, he did. So I guess I'll have to talk about this one. Bryan more or less says, that he's going to beat Roman Reigns at Fastlane. But here's the thing, dude, and this is why I want you to go back and watch the interaction that he had with Roman. Seriously, please do that before our preview. He really emphasized, dude, that he's going to make Roman tap out.
Okay. Okay. See, God, I feel like I missed the Bryan part, but I remember Roman coming out and being like, I've never tapped out in my career. I would rather get my arm broken than tap out, and I'd rather die in that ring than tap out to you. Or to someone like you, he actually said. I remember that. I just don't remember Bryan's part of the promo.
Dude, it's so funny to me. And, at least you saw the Roman part, so that's good. So you have, I think, enough context to have the conversation. It's so funny to me that it seemed like they're reinvesting in the yes lock, with the cage match and everything else. And then remember, at Chamber, the only move Bryan got off was the yes lock.
Yeah.
And then Roman beat the crap out of him. And I only say that because it seemed like for a while the yes lock had been pretty nerfed. And he was either winning with, the knee plus or the carbon footprint, the heel hook, stuff like that. I don't really remember him win. I mean, maybe in a few matches with Gulak, he'd win, or Gulak, excuse me. The Gulak is his finisher name. In a few matches with Gulak, he'd win with the S-Lock. But I never really remember it being, at least in recent memory, this really pronounced, protected finish.
No.
So I love that.
Not within the last, really, I would say not since his return.
And, dude, you know what, though? And this is where we have to give the SmackDown writing credit. Because, oh, man. They're bringing it back. they're putting credibility back on this hold, and they're doing it with the perfect heel foil.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Roman is the perfect guy. Like, he'll probably, if I had to guess, he may tap out this Sunday, but the referee may not see it. Or Edge may even make sure that the referee doesn't see it, because we don't know where Edge's head is at. I know I'm jumping the gun, but you all saw SmackDown, so what the fuck am I really spoiling anyway? So, you know, the fucking special enforcer may make sure he doesn't see it. All that stuff. So, like, I feel like they're using the perfect heel character to really make this finish, this submission, important again. And I loved that it was the whole theme of this promo. And not only did Bryan say he was going to make Roman Reigns tap out, he said he was going to break him. And I loved Roman, his smile, his swagger. Like, this dude is so fucking good. Jesus Christ. Because he's looking at Paul and he's like, Paul, he thinks he can make me tap out. He has a better chance of making lightning shoot out of his ass than making me tap out. And like that swagger and like what he projects out into the universe. Yo, DB, you know, I can handle these little white lies. You tell yourself, you got ambition now. You deserve to main event WrestleMania, etc., etc. But then you bring my name into it. Then you say that you're going to make me tap out. And then like you said, Ashton, you said, I'd rather lose my arm than tap out somebody like you. I'd rather die in that ring than tap out somebody like you. And then Bryan says, we want to talk about delusions. You being the tribal chief, the head of the table, that's a delusion. And then that's where he says, like, at Fastlane, I'm going to make you tap out and I'm going to break you. And I love that Bryan, of all people, who has spent a good part of the recent bit of his career putting over other guys, or even if not putting them over, like in the ring, associating them with segments, being a part of angles with them. Like, I am loving this Daniel Bryan. Finally, he's flexing. Maybe because he knows, I don't know, that he's in the twilight of his personal career. He's going to go. He's going to be a dad, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I was going to say, he built up all this goodwill over the course of the last few years, and now he's just like, you know what? I have a lot of saved SP. I think I'm going to spend it.
Yeah, like, you know, Simon Gotch, in that infamous interview where he buries Enzo Amore, he actually talks about, like, Finn a little bit, because they go through people on the NXT roster back then. And he said about Finn, you know, I feel like he already did his art, now he's doing his money work. I feel like Bryan's the exact opposite. Like, everything he's done in the company beforehand, it's like, I'm going to get paid, this and that. And don't get me wrong, like, the Yes movement, I would say, is both. Like, he probably made good money, and it was art to him, because it was such a great storyline. But this really is his art. Like, I'm ready to stun on people. I'm ready to puff my chest out. I'm ready to really say that I'm the best wrestler in the world. I love that, like, yeah, he's like, I'm secure. This company ain't going to do shit to me. They know what an asset I am. Maybe I can flex a little bit. And if this is how he flexes, goddamn, I'll take that over how a Hogan flexes any day of the week. Fuck Hulk Hogan, by the way.
Yes, I want to chime in with it also. Yes, fuck Hulk Hogan.
Hashtag Bayley for Mania host, please. But
is there a reason that we're choosing Bayley specifically, or just that she's just?
I'm thinking she's not going to make the wrestling card, and honestly, just my 2 cents, you don't have to agree. Nobody has to agree. I think she's been one of the best, like characters, personality wise, like the last year or so, maybe year and a half even,
yeah.
And like, I'd love her in her Ding Dong Hello get up hosting WrestleMania on both nights.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
That'd be fucking dope. So great interaction between these guys. I love it. I love it. I love that Roman's such a good heel, but they've put such quality babyfaces in front of him that I wouldn't be mad if Bryan won the title and complicated the Mania picture. I'm not going to make a definitive pick, of course, guys, until tomorrow at 9 p.m. for Fastlane preview and predictions.
Yeah, dude, honestly, you already know I'm not the biggest Titus O'Neil fan, but I feel so fucking sorry for that dude. Like, he gets treated so poorly given how much he does for the WWE. Like, how much charity work has this dude done? How many signings has he shown up for? How many fucking appearances has he done for this company? They don't ever use him. And frankly, you know, maybe he wants to be more of just like someone that is like a, what's the word I'm looking for here, John, for the company? Ambassador for the company rather than an in-ring performer, and I can get that. But to have him, a fucking black man, host WrestleMania with pro wrestling's most notorious racist. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude, it's gross. It's fucking gross. I feel bad for Titus. Truthfully, I know we can laugh and have our fun, and I've been critical of Titus in the ring before. As a human being, though, I mean, the dude lives for his advocacy, not only as a WWE superstar, but in the state of Florida. You know, how he's spoken out against police brutality and stuff like that. Like, Titus is a model citizen, a really good dude, a better man than me with all the advocacy he does. I have no problem copping to that. I only critique him on here, on this podcast, as a wrestler. There are just some things we're not good at. I'm not a good pianist. You're never going to see me, play piano at a fucking concert. I don't think Titus is a very good wrestler, but as an ambassador, as an advocate, as a human being, the dude seems fucking solid. And to put him in there, and you know something, dude, WWE is so sick too. I'm sorry, I didn't really mean to have this sidebar conversation, guys, but we're in it now. I started it. So I just want to say this. You know it's fucking insidious and sick too, because they're using Titus to rubber stamp Hulk Hogan. Like, I'm getting along with him. I'm hosting WrestleMania with him. He's fine, guys. We should all forgive him. We should all embrace him and let Hulkamania run wild. Fuck you, WWE.
Yeah, dude. Vince still probably sees money in Hulkamania low-key.
Exactly. And here's the thing, I want to say this too. If Titus personally forgives Hulk Hogan, that's his prerogative. He is a human being who's autonomous and has agency. Yeah. But it doesn't mean every other black person has to either. Blackness is not a monolith. If you forgive Hulk Hogan, great. If you don't, I mean, you got an ally in me, because I still don't. I don't even have stake in it that way. But the idea that I think WWE is using Titus that way because he is a company guy, he doesn't say no, he goes along to get along because it's a good gig for his family, and he gets to do his advocacy, and it's like, yeah, be chummy with Hulk, this way they'll make the association see, how could a guy like that be racist? Because our discourse is so piss poor, we still only associate racism with burning crosses and lynchings, and not fundamental asymmetrical dynamics of power. End rant, I apologize, just needed to get that off my chest. So great segment there with Bryan and fucking Roman Reigns. Then we get the match that nobody asked for, and they literally said it themselves.
Dude,
yeah,
fucking video package they put together for this was hilarious. I was dying.
Oh, dude, it was amazing. I want WWE to have that sense of self-awareness more often. Like, it can only benefit me personally. Sami Zayn versus Corbin. Pretty much a nothing matchup meant to drive the bigger story of Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Sami hides behind the referee at one point, thumbs Corbin in the eye. Commentary even notes that it actually seems like Sami's getting more preferential treatment. He's getting away with a lot more than what Corbin has in this matchup. He goes to undo the turnbuckle pad. Referee gets between him. He's like, ref, what are you doing? Corbin hits end of days. Yep. Corbin's in a very weird place right now with this whole Sami Zayn thing. Picks up the win. And he says, your fault, Sami, your fault. Kind of harkening back to what Kevin Owens said. You never take responsibility. You never see anything as your fault. And, Sami's like, did you see that? Did you see that? And Kevin's just like, well, I saw things called pretty fairly. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Open your eyes. The truth is out there. You have to see it. None of you see it. You're ridiculous. You know what? You're part of the problem, too. You're all ridiculous. Come on, guys. Come on. And then they're leaving. And then I gotta say, even though if I'm honest, I love both guys as characters, I just really didn't want this match because I've been saying over and over, you guys know the WrestleMania match for Kevin I wanted Kevin versus Jey Uso. I have to say, and you know what, Ashton, you weren't on call with me because anymore, like I like taking my notes and then just meeting up with you just to see how we both felt about the show. Dude, I swear to you, when Kevin was saying goodbye to commentary and like, oh, thanks for having me on, I don't know what's going on with Sami, and Sami hit that haluva kick to the back of his head, I literally couldn't stop myself from saying, oh my God! Like, I reacted viscerally to that haluva kick. That looked nasty as fuck, dude.
It really did, yeah. And they replayed it like 2 or 3 times, too, to make sure that you saw it.
Dude, like, did you have, like, a sudden knee-jerk reaction like I did when you saw it? Or were you just like, oh, damn, there it is?
Very similar, actually. I didn't say, oh, my God. I was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, he put some stank on it.
I think there was also an element of, like, oh, there it is, kind of thing to my reaction, because you were telling me it was going to happen. And at this point, I kind of expected the betrayal, so to speak. I don't even know if it is a full-blown betrayal. But yeah, I kind of expected Sami to attack him. The timing of it is what got me, though, because I didn't think he would walk away and then turn around and come back and do it.
I didn't either, dude. That was better than most jump scares in horror movies at getting me, because I did jump out of my chair a little. I'm like, holy shit. And then he's like, open your eyes. Kevin, like, literally can't do that because he's unconscious. And then he walks up, get away from me, ref.
Kevin's not home right now. Please leave a message after the tone.
Exactly. And then the ref is trying to like, come on, Sami, what are you doing? Which, by the way, because I already mentioned the Asuka segment earlier that she had with Shayna this past Monday, refs are fucking weird, man. Because, like, he got in Asuka's way, and, like, he obviously stopped her from, like, I don't know, destroying Shayna's fucking mouth. And he's just like, what's wrong with you, huh? You could have seriously hurt her. Like, what is it with referees moralizing about shit, okay? Like,
dude, referees are all secretly heels. They all will be more hard on baby faces and do more of their job to prevent extracurricular attacks with baby faces trying extracurricular attacks than with heels. Every time. Refs are all secretly heels.
Yeah, refs can't keep their moral compass to themselves. I mean, of course, you can't beat what started it all, at least for me taking note of this. Seth Rollins about to hit the Fiend in the cell. Come on, Seth, this isn't who you are!
Yeah, yeah, it's like a theme. It's like, you know, a heel beats someone down and the refs will just stand there and be like, come on, get out of here, stop! But if a babyface tries to beat someone up, the ref will physically go over and grab them and pull them away.
Exactly. We see you, refs. We see you, your corrupt asses.
The secret heels of the wrestling industry.
Exactly. So we're doing Sami Kevin at Mania. We'll have plenty more to talk about, you know, regarding that on the road to WrestleMania, you know, post Fastlane.
Did you by any chance manage to catch on this episode of SmackDown who's going to be on Talking Smack?
No, I didn't. I was keeping a keen eye out for it. If anybody in the chat did, please let me know, because I'm an active watcher of the show, as you guys know, and I'd like a preview. Because I will say, this past episode, save for Big E and Sami, it was, actually, no, I'm thinking of the episode 2 weeks ago, because that had the Mysterios close it, and it was really weak. So, yeah, hopefully it's a good roster for Talking Smack this week. But anyway, we then get Apollo Cruz and Big E's confrontation. Brother, I'm giving this all to you. What did you think about all this, man?
I tell you, the promo part, it was kind of off. It was the worst promo, I think, between these two guys, but the actual physical part I loved. I loved Big E being intense, getting in that golf cart, driving to find Apollo. Apollo walking down the hallway being like, oh, come on, come find me. Big E finds him. It looks like Apollo's going to kind of shy away, but really he just tries to avoid being run the fuck over by a golf cart. And then we got an actual brawl. I liked it. It was fun. It was good. I didn't like the promo part, though.
Promo part was okay. I didn't think it was awful, but I know what you mean.
I think diction is like, he needs to tone it down. Like, he sounds more confused than angry right now. He sounds like almost like that hysterical, like, I don't know what's going on. I'm so angry, and I don't really think that translates very well. And Apollo's accent was a little off tonight, so I just wasn't a fan of the promo at all tonight in general. But yeah, once we got past that, which it was a short promo to be fair, and once we got past it, we got the physical, it was really, really good stuff.
Yeah, I will say some feedback for Big E, because I took more issue with him than Apollo this week. And again, like you said, promo was short, and I'm not saying it's anything bad. I just feel like their TV stuff, like in the ring, has been a lot better. It's funny you say confused, because he almost sounds amused to me when he does the whole starting and something like, are you serious? There's no going back now. Like, are you having fun with it? Are you angry? Like, what are you...
And that's what I mean, though, when I say confused. It's like he doesn't know how to feel, like he's all kinds of emotions at once, and he's trying to express all of them in his words, and it just comes off as like, I don't even know how to react right now. You know what I mean?
But Big E actually wasn't really able to turn it around, though, when he took the mic and stuff off and he said, you know, we don't have to wait till Fastlane. Because I'm like, okay, now the switch has been flipped. And, dude, I will say this. I would love, I don't know how Fastlane's going to end. Again, you guys are going to have to tune in at 9 to hear all of our predictions for every matchup on the Fastlane card. But depending on the finish of this match, dude, I would love a street fight or something between Apollo and Big E at Mania. Don't get anybody else involved. I think these guys still, even though it was a bit of a rough night promo-wise tonight, the physicality and the intensity more than made up for it. Either a false count anywhere matchup, a street fight, something like that where they can just go. Yeah. I think that'd be a stellar Intercontinental title matchup.
I think I would prefer false count anywhere to a street fight, or maybe even both, a false count anywhere street fight, just because I don't like when a feud gets this personal and this heated, and then they have to bring the person back into the ring to pin them. I'm just like, no. Fuck them up, then pin them, and the match is over.
Yeah, you know what? I can agree with you there. So
like, if I ever ran a wrestling promotion, our street fights would be false count anywhere rules by default. Because to me, a street fight shouldn't require getting the person back in the ring to pin them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I hope for false count anywhere. I think you made a great case for why it should be false count anywhere. These guys have been killing it. And again, I don't want anybody else involved. I really don't. I think these guys have earned their own one-on-one match, especially because Mania, is 2 nights. You don't need to cram everybody in because you've got one really long night. You've got 2 moderately long nights to work
Yeah.
with. So
2
figure it
5-hour
out.
nights instead of 1 8-hour night.
Exactly. So, figure it out, After this, we get Bianca Belair versus Shayna Basler. We pretty much talked about this in the opening segment, Heat of the Night. This match very quickly devolved. You had Sasha come out, but then she left. Nia originally was in Shayna's corner, then she left.
Sasha was so weird. Like, her music hits, she comes out, she does her entrance, and then she just hightails it out of there for no goddamn reason. Like, why are you out here at all?
Why are you out here at all? And, I understand heels are going to heel, but, how can I put this? I'd like them to be rational and to be consistent because you have no reason to provoke Bianca right now in this moment when she did help you retain the title earlier tonight. Yeah. I understand you want to be a dirtbag, but I'd like if the dirtbagginess, I don't want to say is more principled because that's counterintuitive, but just I don't know, had more thought put into it, I
think that's what's so frustrating to me about Sasha's current character, though, is that it's just so inconsistent. It's like she isn't even the same person. I understand character development will make characters change over time, but this feels so sudden and so jarring and so starkly different than who she's ever been in her entire career, and it makes no sense, and that's why I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the match just gets thrown out because like you said, Tamina and Natalya, that was the name I was thinking of, attack. They jump Bianca, that whole thing gets done, and yeah, that's where we're at with these guys. And they're probably going to get a tag title match at Mania. Ooh. I don't know. Maybe they'll get added to the Fastlane matchup. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, they're involved. It sucks. I hate it. I hate everything. I really wanted Riot Squad just to be the champions, and we didn't even get them on the show. Have they even been on the show the last few weeks? When was the last time we got Riot Squad on TV?
I think the last time we saw Riot Squad was when they lost to Natalya and Tamina, when Billie Kay was pretending to help them, and then Tamina super kicked Ruby, I think, and pinned her, and then Billie Kay celebrated like she was actually helping them the whole time.
Was that 2 weeks ago, or even longer?
I think it was longer ago than that.
Wow, dude. That's fucking wild, man.
Did you see, by the way, I think it was Chelsea Green earlier today posted pictures of herself and Santana Garrett standing in a Smackdown ring. It almost implied, at least in my mind, that they would be on tonight, and they weren't. And I'm just wondering if maybe the two of them are going to start teaming up now and maybe join in on the conversation for the women's tag titles. I don't know.
Bro, I hope so. And more than anything, I just hope that Chelsea Green gets a fucking break.
Yeah. And preferably not one of her bones this time.
Man, she's so talented. She's a great character performer and stuff like that. I just want her to succeed. I want to see her do well. And Santana's great too. Fucking Chelsea really won me over with her Lucha Underground work. And even though I didn't care for the Hot Mess Van Ness character, I could still appreciate, that she at least thought of a character and she was putting her back into it in Impact. So, rooting for Chelsea. We'll see what happens. And, yeah, just reading some chat messages there. Let's get to our main event. Main event, Jey Uso versus Edge with Bryan on commentary. Ashton, what do you think about this match?
It was good. It was very one-sided. This felt very much like just an assault from Jey Uso, just beating the fuck out of Edge the entire time and attacking the ribs and that stomach, which really is brilliant because he's softening Edge up for Roman in a month.
Exactly. Telling you, man, he was quite the strategist. I like how they protected the Uso splash by not having Jey be able to cover right away because of the shoulder, because that's what Edge was kind of working over. And then a few moments later, Edge gets the spear in the wind. Yep. So as expected, Edge becomes the enforcer.
And then Roman comes in with a spear on Edge and starts talking shit to Bryan.
Yeah, he's like, why don't you come here and make me tap out? And then Bryan, who I loved what he was wearing, by the way. I love that Bryan, when he's babyface, always goes back to that everyman aesthetic. He's like, oh, you want me to come in there and make you tap out right now? And it seems like he's going to, and then Jey Uso blindsides him. He looked so
excited. He was like, oh, you want to do this now? Okay.
Yeah, and then it's like, surprise, motherfucker, bam! And then Bryan out, they throw him back in the ring, and then Roman spears him. So Roman stands tall over Bryan and Edge. And yeah, that's SmackDown. That's how SmackDown concludes. So with that said, let's get to our next segment, high spots and low shots. And I'm going to say that my low shot, let me think about this here. You know what? I'm going to say that my low shot are Wild Hogs. Because they've been ducking challengers for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and because they were so scared to defend the titles against any one team, they're more than likely down the road going to have to face 3 teams for those SmackDown Tag titles. So, rough night for them. Who's your low shot?
Yeah, so sticking in the tag division, my low shot is Dominic Mysterio, because, dude, you got beat twice.
But he didn't, though, because he got the pin on Dawkins.
Wait. Oh, well, okay, but still, he got squashed by Otis, so that's big. And frankly, that Chaos Theory by Gable looked like it might have been a little fucking stiff, so that's like another reason why Dominic is just sticking out in my mind.
That's fair. I mean, if you want to keep it, man, keep it. I'm just
I just had a weird, like, I forgot that Ray and Dominic actually beat the Profits. That was fucking weird.
Yeah, that's fine, man. That's fine. My high spot, God, do I go for the low-hanging fruit or do I actually try? I'm going to say that my high spot, you know what? My high spot is Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
Because Shinsuke Nakamura, not only does he defend the value of friendship, he embarrasses Seth Rollins, and because he did those 2 things in tandem, defending friendship and embarrassing Seth Rollins, he got on a pay-per-view by the skin of his teeth in a singles match against Seth Rollins for Fastlane. So, way to get yourself work, Shinsuke. We love you. Who's your high spot?
My high spot is going to be Bianca Belaire for weird.
Interesting.
So, she helped Sasha win the first match, no doubt, right?
Yeah.
But in doing so, she also helped secure the whole making history at WrestleMania thing by having the first all women of color championship match, right? And then she also probably would have beaten Shayna if she hadn't been attacked by 2 vets who are attacking her, even though she's not even one of the champions that they're interested in. So it's like, she's like, this star is so fucking bright that she blinds all of the old hag moths that are trying to come to her, and they lose track of what they're actually trying to attack. They went after her instead of Shayna. Shayna's the champion, you dumbass.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like, wow.
Bianca's just challenging for a singles title at Mania. I mean, she and Sasha are challenging for the tag titles. Are Tamina and Natalya assuming that they're going to win and they're preemptively trying to get a title shot at them at a time? I don't get it. It's like that Bianca is just that fucking good that she's just attracting all of this hate, and she's got this big ass target on her back, even though she doesn't even hold any gold yet. That's how big of a deal she is right now. Yeah,
man, that's actually a very cleverly chosen high spot. And yeah, with that said, this has been Smackdown. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Smackdown reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Be sure to click the bell icon and subscribe to keep up with all that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us both on Twitter. I'm at John_TWitWoW. He's at Ashton_TWitWoW. My pinned tweet on my Twitter profile is meant to collect Q&A questions. Q&A is March 25th, so we're less than a week away. Thursday the 25th is Q&A. Non-Patreon donors get 3 Q&A questions. If you donate $1 to the Patreon, you get 2 additional Q&A questions for a total of 5. However, if I were you, I would donate $3 to the TWitWoW Patreon, because $3 gets you those 2 additional Q&A questions, and it also gets you access to the TWitWoW Discord. Great group of people, and we do Among Us Mondays. Yeah, we're that kind of Discord server. So you're going to want to get in on that. It's a lot of fun. It's a great time. Be sure to check out the Patreon as well. If you're interested in a TWitWoW Request Live, we did one literally yesterday. It was a John Cena matchathon courtesy of DBK. You can see our price breakdowns and how we go about things in the Patreon link below. And just to very quickly go over the rest of this week and next week, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Fastlane preview and predictions. Be there. That's the most immediate thing we're doing next. Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Fastlane live reactions. We've got nothing Monday or Tuesday. Then Wednesday, 5 p.m., Stardom March 20th show live reactions. NXT review at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, same night. Thursday the 25th, as I just got done saying, TWitWoW Q&A, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Then Friday the 26th, we've got Stardom, March 21st, live reactions. Then Smackdown review at 10 p.m. And then that's pretty much that, because then we're off the weekend. So that's things coming up most immediately. And again, the next thing is preview and predictions for Fastlane tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Until then, guys, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and do the best you can out there. And until we see each other again for Fastlane preview and predictions, tune in. Peace out.